Okay, I think our attendees list is starting to level off here, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining me today. My name is Sarah. I'm going to be giving today's training webinar on TeamPlayer updates and lien law. As we go through, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat and the Q&A, and we'll make sure that we get those answered for you today. But hopefully you'll walk away from today's session with a really good understanding of some of the new parts and pieces and features that we have here in our new TeamPlayer. I'm also going to be bouncing back and forth a bit today between slides and our live database for demos. So that's why I've kind of got you in a browser screen here. So let's go ahead and move forward. A little bit about our agenda today. We're going to talk about a basic overview. What is TeamPlayer? For anyone who's never used it, what's it all about and how can it be valuable to you as a user of RedTeam Flex? Some basic updates to our subscription model and our app card so that you understand if you wish to start using it, how you can do so and what features are included. We'll talk then about lien law updates. That's going to be the biggest feature we'll go over today. Is we've actually added the ability to electronically create lien documents, send those out for electronic signature through TeamPlayer. So that'll be our big demo for today. And then we'll wrap things up with a Q&A so that, like I said, as you've been dropping questions in the chat throughout, you can make sure that you get your questions answered there before we wrap up today. So a little bit about me. My name is Sarah Nyheisel. I'm our Senior Enablement Manager here. So you may know me as an implementation specialist. I've implemented a lot of clients over the last 4 years. And I'm just kind of moving into a role where I can help really enable our clients to reach a deeper level of knowledge about our product and make sure that they're getting the most out of it. So you'll see some of these training webinars. We're going to be starting to go a little bit deeper into some of those features that you may not utilize all the time. So that's the goal today. Alan is one of our implementation specialists. He's going to be helping me monitor the chat today. So if you have any questions, again, make sure you drop them in there. Alan will either answer them for you through the chat or we will pick them up at the end and answer those live. Just a disclaimer for everyone who's here today, the product we are going to be going over today, TeamPlayer, is related to RedTeam Flex. So that is kind of our flagship platform, our highly configurable construction management software designed for folks who really have a need to manage their project end to end with a high level of configurability. Not related at all to RedTeam Go, which is another platform that we provide. So I'd always just like to start my webinars off that way. Make sure you're not in the wrong room, right? If you are a user of RedTeam Flex or a potential user of RedTeam Flex, this is a webinar for you. So let's start basic then. What is TeamPlayer? It is an electronic portal for vendor collaboration. That's the most simple explanation I can give. TeamPlayer is an optional add-on feature that you can utilize with RedTeam Flex. You as the GC are not essentially using TeamPlayer, right? You're turning on the ability to invite your vendors, your subcontractors and suppliers to use TeamPlayer as a digital portal that they can log into, and it's going to allow them to collaborate with you more efficiently. It allows them to collaborate with you in terms of commitment forms, invoicing, lien law, and credential management. So it's just really allowing them to kind of have a single place where they can log in and see all the necessary information and documents regarding the projects that they work with you on. So that is TeamPlayer. We'll talk a little bit about what is our subscription model, right? How can you utilize TeamPlayer? We currently offer a monthly subscription with unlimited access to construction billing and electronic lien waiver signatures. You may recall previously in the past, we had allowed our clients to use TeamPlayer on a per invoice basis. Essentially, you could turn that feature on in the apps menu whenever you wanted and start inviting your subcontractors to bid or to submit bills, excuse me. And we would essentially charge a $10 per invoice processing fee. We've progressed from that to what is now a monthly subscription for construction billing and lien waiver signatures. But you can see here, we do actually have some basic features that are free for all of our clients. So any of our clients can go to the app card, which I'm going to show you here momentarily. And you can turn on TeamPlayer and you can invite your vendors to create a TeamPlayer login, right? And they're going to be able to access that portal. And even without the subscription, they can view the contracts that you're sending. They can view any change orders or anything that you send related to those commitment forms. They can access the online plan room for those projects and those commitments. They can view the status of credentials such as W-9s or MSAs or anything else that you may need to gather liability forms from them. And they can view the status of required lien documents. Even if you're not using our upgrade features, they're not able to sign those documents digitally. They can view the status of those and keep tabs on what you require from them. So it can be that much easier for them to communicate that information to you. Now you'll see at the bottom there, those upgrade features. That's what's included in the monthly subscription. And that is currently generally a 10% of your ARR. So that's our current model here. And it's going to include unlimited access to what we call e-apps or electronic pay applications, where your vendors are going to be able to submit electronically AIA-style pay applications or progress bills to you in RedTeam Flex. That's going to save your team an enormous amount of manual input for vendor invoices. So instead of having someone who's individually inputting every single invoice into RedTeam Flex, your vendors are going to be able to log into TeamPlayer. They can do that on their laptop, on their mobile device, tablet, phone. They can go ahead and submit those bills really quickly and easily, gets them to you faster, saves you time and effort in the office, and gets folks paid faster. So it's a really valuable tool. We've also added to that the feature we're going to be looking at today, which is the ability to electronically receive and sign lien documents. We're going to allow you, if you're using that upgrade feature, to configure as many lien documents as you want within RedTeam Flex, and then request signature of those through the TeamPlayer portal. So those are the features that we have. We are going to bounce over, before we look at lien law updates, we are going to bounce over to a RedTeam Flex database, just so I can show you that app card, how you might turn that on, right? If you've used TeamPlayer in the past, you may notice some changes here. So that's one of the updates we want to highlight. Down here in the apps menu, every new client is going to have an app card for TeamPlayer. Now you can see this one's already operational. I actually connected it. But we can click in here and we're going to have the ability to accept the terms of service. That's how we turn it on. Now you can see here, it's offering you an explanation of the basic and the upgrade features, the same ones that I just explained there. So basic features, really a view-only portal for your vendors. They can view their contracts, access plan room, view credentials and waivers that you require from them. You have the ability to decide which commitment forms you are sending out to them through TeamPlayer and decide which vendors you're going to utilize with TeamPlayer. It's not an all or nothing. I can choose some more tech savvy subcontractors. Maybe I want to use TeamPlayer with them. And if I've got some old school folks who just, aren't that type of subcontractor, I don't have to utilize TeamPlayer for them. So it is a kind of flexible tool that I can use with the vendors I so choose. There's those upgrade features over there, again, signing lien waivers and submitting e-apps, electronic pay applications. So if we go ahead and accept the terms of service, that's going to turn on the basic features for us. We can go ahead and start using those immediately. If you're interested in the upgrade and you don't already have that as a part of your contract, you can click right here to get in touch with your CSM. That's going to allow you to discuss that monthly subscription pricing and add that to your contract if that's something that you'd like to have. So just accepting the terms of service is not going to allow you to get to those upgrade features on your own. You'll want to make sure you talk with your CSM and they'll be able to turn that upgraded feature on for you. Now, once I do that, I'm going to come down here and take a look at construction billing. This section's only going to be applicable if we were using the upgrade features, right? Because we're not actually handling construction billing if we're just using the basic free version. But if we're using the monthly subscription, the upgrade features, we want to come in here and decide if we want to bill back our vendors, right? Essentially, if we want to charge them a processing fee for submitting electronic invoices. We can come in here and activate construction billing, and then we can decide that discount. Now it says discount to apply to vendor payments. And again, notice I do have to turn this on to use construction billing at all. So by turning this on, I'm saying, yes, I want to go ahead and use those electronic invoices. This piece right here is me saying, how much would I like my vendors to pay per invoice? And the way that works is, let's say I want to charge them $10 per invoice to submit through TeamPlayer. They invoice me for $100. I'm going to pay them $90, and that additional $10 left on the invoice is going to flow. Now this is only if I'm connected to QuickBooks Online, right? If I'm using a QuickBooks Online integration, I can indicate where that discount is going to go. I can essentially set up an account in my integrated accounting software, primarily QBO, to say, hey, this is where it's going to go. That way, all those processing fees, if you will, are going to accrue in that account. And, ostensibly, you'd be able to use those to pay for your monthly subscription. That's up to you. It's not something you have to utilize, but it is here. And you can go ahead and put in a dollar value if you'd like for construction billing. Down here, the last piece you'll want to set up in the app card is going to be your application for payment certification. Now, you've got a couple of choices to make down here. You can go ahead and turn on or off the ability to bill stored materials. If I deactivate it, they won't have the option to indicate stored materials on their progress bills. We can turn it on to allow them to list stored materials on their bills. We've got a vendor certification section here. We've got some default wording for you, but you can click the pencil to go ahead and edit that and make sure the wording is precise and exact for what you need in your company. You can also choose to turn on a notary certification and an architect certification. You can preview here what that looks like with or without those forms or those sections. And like I said, we're not going to go through the process of construction billing today. We've definitely got some great help articles, and we've got some great help center videos where you can look through that. Today, we're just going to really focus on the updates. So there we go. We've kind of looked at the app card, right? If you need more information about how to get this set up, I definitely encourage you to reach out to your CSM and take a look at our help center articles for information on how to set this up. But really, we just want to highlight, the app card is now really distinctly listing those differences between the basic features and the upgrades. So let me double check here, make sure we don't have any questions before we continue. Okay, I'm not seeing any in the chat or Q&A, but feel free to go ahead and drop those in as you have questions. We're going to bounce back over then to our slides here and talk about lien law updates. This is really the big exciting piece that I want to show you guys today, is that we have recently released the ability to request, sign, and receive lien documents electronically in-house. Again, you may be familiar with our level set integration. That's how we handled that previously. We did have the ability to integrate with level set and request waivers electronically through that platform. We decided that it was time for us to have an in-house solution for that. So we've added that to our TeamPlayer portal. Again, if you're using that upgrade feature with the monthly subscription, you're going to be able to configure an unlimited number of lien documents within your Flex database. I'll show you where and how to do that. You're going to be able to request those waivers as a part of your invoice approvals process. If you've already been using the level set integration, it's going to look really familiar. You're going to go ahead and request that waiver during the vendor invoicing approval process, the same way you did with our level set integration. It's going to show up to your vendor, your subcontractor or supplier, as an email. They can open it in TeamPlayer and sign right there. Signed copies are then provided to both parties via email, and it's going to be stored within your RedTeam Flex project so that you can reach back and reference that anytime you need to. So let's go ahead and take a look. If we go to a sample project here, what I did was I set this up so that I have a buyout already in existence with a subcontractor who's working with me through TeamPlayer. So Miller's Carpentry and More here. I sent them a subcontract agreement. You'll be able to see if we come over here that it was sent to them through TeamPlayer. They actually signed that, sent it back to me. I marked it executed. At the point that it's marked executed, they have the ability to submit an invoice through TeamPlayer. Again, we're not going to go through that process today, but suffice to say that Miller's Carpentry has sent me their first invoice. I can come over here to my vendor invoices to see it. And I have that invoice right here in a draft status. This is how it shows up when it's submitted by our vendor through that TeamPlayer portal. And in fact, I'll offer you a little window over here. This is that TeamPlayer portal, right? So this is as if I was the subcontractor, right? Again, you guys as the GCs will not be logging in to a TeamPlayer portal like this. This is where your vendors are going to log in. They're going to be able to look at their list of customers, which would be you and anyone else who's using RedTeam Flex that they do business with. So they can come in here and they can see the 2 projects they're doing work on for me. There's that Harper Stables and Racing. They can come in and see that contract that they have with me, that subcontract. And within here, they've got the ability to enter new bills, view existing bills, and check on those credentials and waiver statuses. So this is where they entered their bill, and this is where they can track the bill that they sent me. As I receive that bill, it's essentially going to go through the same invoicing process that it would if it was manually entered here. So it's going to show up in the dashboard inbox of my first approver, and they're going to be able to walk through it. Now, I'm not walking through the approvals process, so I'm just going to open it from here, right? Rather than opening it from my dashboard and hitting review. But as we hit edit, you're going to notice, right? We get a warning, the invoice amount cannot be changed because it was submitted from TeamPlayer. So as we look through all the details here, you're going to see all the details they entered and their actual attachment, if they sent you a PDF or an Excel document of that bill, their backup document, if you will. We can come down to job costs. If we see any issues, again, remember we have the right to reject and cancel, send back to them. They'll see our notes and concerns and they can correct and resubmit through the TeamPlayer portal. It's going to send them an email notification. But assuming that all of this looks good, once we commit, that's when we're going to have the ability to request that lien waiver. So I'm going to go ahead and commit this invoice, meaning I'm locking in those job costs. And that's the moment where before I walk it through the approval stage, someone in my approvals chain is going to come here to lien waivers and see the claimant. Now, how did the claimant get here? If you have selected on your subcontractor purchase order form that you want to require a lien waiver every time, that can be set up in configuration. I always want to require a lien waiver. Or if in that one instance, as you filled out your subcontractor PO in the buyout tab, you checked the box that says, I want to require a lien waiver. We're going to create the claimant for you automatically. If you forgot either of those steps, you don't have it configured that way, but you do need a lien waiver, you'll want to create the claimant manually. So let me show you where we can do that. Again, it's within the buyout tab. We can come here to lien law claims. And you'll see my claimant's already there, but I can come in here and add any new claimant I want at any time. I would select my privy here and it's going to show me my available commitment forms from the buyout tab, right? So I could go ahead and select which one that form should apply to. Once you create the claimant, then you're going to be able to request that form from the invoice approval step. So let's go back there. We'll go back to our vendor invoice. Now we come to our lien waiver step and we're going to say request. Again, this is really similar. If you've used the level set integration, what we're doing here is we're choosing the form that we want to request. Now I've only got one form configured and available here. What you're going to see in this list is the list of forms that you have configured for this particular lien law venue. Each project in the project preferences, right, in your project setup form, step 2, you can set your statutory authority for lien law. It's essentially your lien law venue. What state are you operating in? Now, for this project, I selected the venue of Nebraska, right? And this is the only file, the only lien document that I've configured in this database for the state of Nebraska. But if you have multiple forms, you'd be able to go ahead and choose the right one here. We can open that up, and what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to see the form, right? I configured this from scratch. We get to determine how this form looks, what the language is, the fillable fields. So we're going to go ahead and put in a date there. And then you see that warning up there saying, hey, required fields need to be filled out is gone. So I'm going to fill in any text boxes, put in any dates I need to. It's recognizing the signature block there based on how I configured the form. And I can have a lot of project particular information, project specific information populate using what we call text tags. So here, I said, I want to populate the claimant's name automatically there. I want to populate the customer name and the job location. We can set up our form to fill in that information automatically for you so that you're not having to type in project specific information every time you fill out the form. Now, once this looks good, I'm going to go ahead and hit email. We'll go ahead and send it. And it's going to send automatically to the individual who submitted the invoice. So this is where I'm going to pop over to my subcontractor view, right? Now I'm the subcontractor. And in my email, we're going to see a please sign unconditional waiver and release of lien. I received that email and it's asking me to go ahead and view that document. This is how I'm going to get to it in TeamPlayer. We're going to go ahead and hit view and it's going to bring me directly in, right? I'm already signed in. If I wasn't signed in, it might ask me to put in my username and password first, but I'm going to go ahead and see it right here. I can see all the information and I can hit sign document. That's going to allow me to sign here in the signature space right there. And once it's signed, we then both receive copies of this via email. So you can see it applied the signature there. I can go ahead and close it out. I can log out of TeamPlayer. I can also add comments or questions. You're familiar with our collaborative console, right? So if I have questions or concerns about this form, or I'm having trouble signing it, I can go ahead and add comments. And it's going to go ahead and just put my digital signature in there based on the name that I have configured for my TeamPlayer account. So it goes ahead and takes care of that for you. And then as we come back into RedTeam Flex, we can view that document, right? We can see requested, we can actually back out. And if we come to our lien law claims page, we're now going to be able to see under this claimant, there is the form, status is executed. I've got a copy right here that I can go ahead and open up and see that signed copy. So you've got it on file. It's going to be sent back to your sub via email. So they'll have a copy and it's all taken care of right there. So a really smooth, simple process. The last thing I want to show you is, hey, where do I set up those types of forms? And again, I'm just going to check here to make sure we don't have any questions going on. Nope. Okay. So last thing we want to talk about with lien waivers is, hey, where would I set up those forms? Now, this is something that we can absolutely help you with, but if you're comfortable setting up your own forms, down here under the configuration menu, you're going to find a section for lien law claims. This is, it really doesn't look any different than our old methods where you would be creating venues or states where you do business. Notice I've got Nebraska and Florida here. We always have the level set venue for those who are using the level set integration, but you can add as many venues as you do business in. You can create standings within each venue. You can come in here and create first tier and second tier subcontractors, whatever you may need. All of these are for Florida. And then you can see I've created a few here for Nebraska. You can create more. And then the templates. Now, historically, these templates were more or less a tag or a label, so that as you were either manually uploading forms or bringing them in from level set, you could tell us what type of form you were uploading. But you can see here now, I've created a few of these forms for Nebraska. Here's the one we utilized, right? Now, instead of just having the name of the form there so that as I upload a file, I can tell RedTeam what type of file I'm uploading. Now I have the ability to edit the form, which is make some basic choices. What is the name of the form? Am I tracking a through date or exposure? Should it supersede any prior versions of that form? And will it affect any other forms, right? Is it going to close out any other forms here for the same venue? And if so, what is the disposition, right? Is it satisfied, dismissed, discharged, right? I can go ahead and indicate the disposition of those other forms when this form is submitted. We can activate and inactivate those forms, turn them off if you no longer want to use a form. And then you can indicate which fields are required within that form. So these are basic settings, but I can also come in here and edit the view. The view is what you might think of as the Word document that you use to create that form. So this is the wording and the text. This is where I said text tags, right? We can indicate where we want things to show up. You've got your little text tag library over here. If you've ever done any editing of your commitment forms or your RFIs, it's the same concept. Again, if this is over your head and you're feeling overwhelmed by the idea of configuring your own forms, just reach out to us. You can always submit examples of the forms you need, and our team can help you get those created. But otherwise, you'll be able to come in here and say, hey, at this point, this is where I want the signature block to be. Copy that and paste it in, right? So I came down here to signature and I pasted that information right there. I pasted my through date. There's some text boxes you can have where folks can type information in. So it's up to you to create as many of these forms as you need. You can preview them here before you save, and you can come make edits and changes to those at any time. That's all housed right here, and that's something that your administrators will need to do. So if you're someone who processes those lien documents and you need help getting those created, you'll want to reach out to anyone at your company who's a system administrator. But from there, that really does it for everything we wanted to see today. I know that's a lot of information. So let's go ahead and wrap up with some time for questions. I'm not seeing anything currently in the chat or the Q&A, but I'm going to hang around for a few minutes and just see. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop those in the chat. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope you got some great new information on how to use your TeamPlayer portal. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good rest of the day.